guys, I'm Uffe with TC. I'm here with Pete Thorn to check out a little bit of gear. So Pete, thanks for having us here in the studio here in Hollywood. It's great to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too.
Do you want to kind of walk us through your setup? You're using G System with Chris Cornell and
absolutely
a bunch of other stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I've been using the G System now for I guess about 2-3 years, something like that. And I have 2 full G System pedalboard rigs and whatnot. And I've got my main one here today, so I can walk you through it.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Okay, cool. So this is it basically, and if you're not familiar with the G System, it's a multi-effects unit. Sort of pedal board unit with multi-effects, its own sounds built in, but it also allows you to use your existing effects pedals. If you've got fuzzes and overdrives and stuff like that, you can interface them all into using the loops in the G System, and then turn them on and off with the G System. So it's really cool because you can control a whole rig with it. It also has relay switching jacks in it that allow you to channel switch your amp if you've got a head with channel switching, and so yeah, it just kind of became like the sort of the centerpiece for my whole rig, really.
Yeah, I see you got pretty much all the plugs filled up back there, so it looks like you're using it pretty extensively.
I'm using it pretty extensively. Yeah, everything's pretty much tapped out on it right now, but it's great. It's been really good. So
great.
About 200 shows, I think, that it's been totally reliable, and I haven't had one problem. So
very good.
It's really good.
Very good. Yeah. And I understand your backup rig kind of got lost at some point, so I guess that's a good thing that it didn't break down.
It was actually this rig, my other board, which is a little bit smaller version of the same thing. We were on our way to Europe, and I had this board built as a second board, and it actually became my main one. But we were on our way to Europe, and we were flying a commercial, this board. I hadn't even used it on one gig, and got lost by the airlines. And it was floating around Europe for about a month, and we were on tour. We were actually on tour with Aerosmith at the time.
Okay.
And I was, concerned because I only had the one G System board then, but it worked flawlessly for the whole tour. And finally, I ended up about a month later getting this one back, which was great. And then I put it into service as being my main pedal board ever since. So it's been really good.
Very good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's hear a little bit about how you hooked it up and what you're using a little more specifically. I'm sure the guys are dying to see what you have in your setup.
Yeah, essentially, it's the board is built by my buddy Dave Friedman at Rack Systems in North Hollywood, and so what I got going is basically I'm using the X2 wireless, the XCS Plus unit that you see over there in the right-hand corner. Yeah. So I come out of the guitar into the wireless. And then I'm running, into this volume pedal, and which has a tap going off to the Peterson tuner.
Yeah.
And then into the G System, I got a bunch of the loops filled up with pedals. So I'm using a MXR Phase 90 in one of the loops, ZVEX Box of Rock, which is like a kind of a Marshall-y sounding overdrive unit that also has a clean boost in it.
Yeah.
I use the MXR EVH flanger as well. Boss Hyper Fuzz, which I've resurrected. They don't even make that pedal anymore. It's a great fuzz pedal. It's it's really nasty sounding. It does a good Octavia kind of thing, and it's just works really well. So I've got a Love Pedal Eternity overdrive that I use for some lead boosts and stuff over there. There's a Line 6 Roto Machine, which I use for Leslie sounds, and that's like when I do, with Chris Cornell, I do Black Hole Sun and stuff like that. I'm using that for a Leslie simulator. It works really great. And I've got an Eventide delay over there just for some other random delays and stuff that I do. And that's an expression pedal tied to the G System, that guy right there, which I use. I use the wah in the G System, and I also have some sounds tied to the expression pedal and stuff, where I got one thing morphing into another and stuff, like different delays and reverbs, and so that's happening. The box right on the corner of the rig over there in the bottom right-hand corner, that's an AB box, so that what happens is when I hit that, the A side goes through all this stuff to my electric rig. Okay. The B side, when I hit it, it's got a DI built in, so I can run an acoustic guitar on the same rig and just right out to the acoustic line.
Yeah, so, perfect.
Yeah, in one of my Les Pauls, I actually have a Fishman power bridge.
Yeah.
So that with the the pickup in the bridge, and I can just pull the tone pot and hit that switch at the same time, and then go to an acoustic sound.
Oh, very cool.
And then switch back to the electric thing really quick. So yeah, so it's cool. So that's the pedal board portion of my rig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's have a look at the rack and your amps as well.
Okay, cool. So for amps, I'm using basically a couple different heads I've been using on the road. This is a head built by my friend John Sir. It's a variation on his the custom audio OD100 head, and he's calling it the PT100, which is I'm very stoked. Pete Thorn, so PT100. It's cool. I love it.
Cool.
So it's a 2-channel head, really almost like a virtual 3-channel. And I'll explain that. On channel 1, you've got the basic clean sound. You switch over to channel 2, you go to this side, and then you got a great sort of dirty Marshally crunch sound. But it has 2 sets of gain and master controls on the channel 2. So what I can do is foot switch over to a louder, more gainier solo sound. So it's kind of almost like having 3 channels, really. So that head's great. And basically, I've got clean Fender, dirty Marshall kind of tones covered with that. With this guy, this is a divided by 13 RSA 31, which is very similar to an AC30 type sound.
Yeah, very cool.
So with this rig, I can kind of do Fender, Vox, Marshall, basically with these heads. In the rack down here, I'm using a few different things. I've got the Axe effects from Fractal in there, as well as a couple different power amps and whatnot. And basically what I'm using this rack for is both heads go into using a head switcher.
Yeah.
I can switch between them into one cabinet.
Okay.
And so what's happening is I've got a center dry signal on that cabinet. And then the signal then splits off, goes through the rack, and I can mix in some wet effects into 2 more cabinets. So it's called a wet, dry, wet. Kind of rig where you got your center dry sound remains unaltered and stuff, and then you got 2 more outside cabinets with some mixed in kind of delays and ambient stuff. So it allows you to get stereo crazy.
Yeah.
And that's it pretty much. Yeah, I'm using guitars from Gibson. So I brought this Les Paul today, and I've also got I haven't busted it out yet, but I will in a minute here for some demonstrations. A guitar made by John Sir that is also the fellow who made that amp.
Great stuff.
Yeah, so that's it. That's what I'm using.
Very good. All right.
Yeah.